No, she's going to send it, or Mary's going to send
No, I can give it to him, make sure it's what he wants.
it. Yeah. All right, with the
Yeah. Hey everybody, this is Jim with Harvest Harmonics, and welcome to the Future of Farming Today. And today I want to talk about solutions to farmer income, right? Now, farmer income is a very important topic because farming is kind of a commodity business, right? It's you're dealing with food. So when you have a lot of supply of something and a low demand, then the pricing for that commodity goes down. Likewise, of course, when you produce less of something and the demand is high, you get a really good price for something. Now, a lot of people don't really know, but the fertilizer shortage that happened last year in 2022 was really caused because the prediction for corn prices was that the corn was going to be very, very high, right? So what happened is farmers increased the fertilizer usage to take advantage of that higher price, right? They figured if they could push extra yield at a time when the price is high, they're going to make more money. Of course, that big push on fertilizer drove up the cost of fertilizer. And as we all know, the conflict in Ukraine and Russia did not help anybody. That made the overall supply much, much less. So we ended up with a situation where farmers may have made a decent living in 2022, but now in 2023, they're kind of having some issues, right? And that's really the name of the game. So how do you consistently increase farm income? Well, the way you consistently increase a farmer's income is by getting more efficient. And there really just is no other solution, right? It's not all about yield. I mean, I talk to farmers every single day, and I always hear is the number one thing they want to improve is they want to get more yield. They want to push yield, right? And that's totally fine. Of course, we want to push yield to make sure there's enough food in the marketplace. But when you push yield, if you also are increasing your input cost, especially and everybody pushes yield, then what happens is everybody starts using a lot of inputs like we saw in 2022. And everybody starts pushing yield so that there's a high supply of that yield, and the cost of inputs goes up with it, because guess what? When you increase your usage of inputs, everybody's using it and supply goes down and the cost of inputs goes up, right? So you're increasing your costs if you're only focusing on increasing yield. And when everybody focuses on increasing yield, then the overall supply gets high and it peaks out, and then you have overproduction. In fact, in California, we're running into that right now. In fact, maybe even worldwide. I'm hearing a lot of nut growers having a big problem. In California, walnut growers and almond growers are really having a tough time right now because the market dropped out. There was an overproduction of walnuts and almonds over the last few years. Obviously, the COVID pandemic was not a good thing. And the oversupply and then reduced demand for these products and also the increase in the number of growers that were growing these products basically created a situation where the whole supply was increased. So everybody was pushing yield and pushing, hey, we're going to grow walnuts and almonds, right? But they're all pushing yield and the whole market goes up. Now, instead of getting $3 or $4, $2, $3, $4 a pound for a shelled walnut, for example, now the cost is 40 cents. In fact, one of our growers who we helped with their yield was reporting to us she's almost out of business because now she's getting a tenth of what she was getting just a couple of years ago. And she says, I can't cover all my cost, even though you've increased my yield and it's helped me that way, I still can't cover all my costs because my product isn't worth anything, right? So the only viable way, the only sure way that you can really improve a farmer's income or your income if you're a farmer is by getting more efficient. Okay, and that means you have to take a look at not just yield, but also your cost. How can you manage both of those metrics together at the same time so you can produce a good crop and a good yield and a good quality, but at the same time do so more efficiently so you can use less inputs, less fertilizers, less pesticides, less water, right? And that's exactly why the Kimanossi Crop Booster was created. It was created to make food healthier, but it was also created to help farmers by increasing the efficiency of the plants, because we knew and we understood the economics of it. Like just increasing yield in a commodity market will only provide a short-term gain. And eventually, if everybody starts using our product and getting more yield, then of course, the amount of volume, the value of that crop is going to go down because of the increased supply. But if we can simultaneously reduce the use of inputs, then we can also reduce the cost of inputs, right? Because there's not going to be as much of a demand on that supply. Supply and demand is a very simple concept, guys. It's not very complicated. It can be complicated in how it's applied, obviously in farming, but the basic economic concept of how you make more money and get more profitable is really just that, is reduce your cost and increase yield. And if you can do both simultaneously, then of course you're going to be winning and making a lot more money. Now, the crop booster of amino acid plants technology is something that does exactly that. We make plants and trees and grasses and every type of plant you can imagine more efficient in terms of how it can absorb and utilize water and nutrients. We make the plants more efficient in how it absorbs and utilizes sunlight during the photosynthesis process so that the plant can generate the maximum amount of energy and, of course, at the end of the day, the maximum yield with the minimum amount of cost. And we've been helping farmers do this for the last 3 years. The farmers that have been on board with us since the beginning are winning. They're having a lot of great success. They're telling us how amazing this is. And of course, 4 or 5 years down the road, that they're going to just be steadily better, right? Because they're continuing to increase their inputs and increase their output while reducing their inputs, right? And that's the name of the game. So if for no other reason, if for purely economic reasons, and all you care about is making money as a farmer, then you absolutely have to use the crop booster amino acid plant because it is the most efficient method of growing in the 21st century here. And with all the rising cost of inputs and the increase in governmental regulations on water and inputs and everything else, and the resistance of insects to certain things and funguses, with all these different factors going on right now, not to mention the overall economic and geopolitical upheaval with wars and various things that are going on, this is a very uncertain time. And it's a time where you really have to make sure that what you're doing is as efficient as possible. And we want to help you with that. So if you want to be a part of the future of farming and you want to take advantage of this amazing technology, we do have some really good specials going on for the summer here of 2023, and we would love to help you with that. So call us at 727-324-6750 or email us at service@harvestharmonics.com, and we'll help you become